Okay, so they started the recording. I'm going to call this evening's meeting, April 4th, 2022, to order at 7:32 p.m. The first item on our agenda is the public comment period. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment about any topic that's not already on our agenda?
I just wanted to mention that I am the planning board liaison, so if you talk bad about us, I will tell.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Anyone else? If not, I have one email that was sent to the trustees and Jody this afternoon from Jeff Diver. Jeff Diver had asked us to read this into the minutes. Apartments are encroaching within easy walking distance for children in the vicinity of flood retention ponds in the vicinity of Dart Drive and Ivar's Way. These ponds are deep and retain several feet of water throughout the year. The time has come for the village to consider the safety and future of these year-round impoundments. Can they be developed for safe use for fishing, swimming, and ice skating? Should they be fenced, or should signs be posted to place them off limits for the public that can read? What would happen if a child wandered away and drowned in one of these village facilities? Is there some way to continue wildlife access while restricting human access? I am not as concerned about the pond in the middle of the existing Lansing Trails development, parentheses, Peekaboo Pond, close parentheses, as it is now pretty much a muck-filled cattail swamp rather than a pond, and is not immediately accessible to automobile traffic. Thanks for giving this matter your attention. And that's the end of the letter from Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. We will take this under consideration. Our next, go ahead. Did anyone decide that they had some more public comment? No, okay. We'll have to have a motion to close the public comment period and a motion.
I'll move to close the public period.
I'll second.
Thank you, Pat. Thanks, Simon. All those in favor say aye, raise your hand. Aye. Okay, the next agenda topic is to approve our.
We can't see Carol. Carolyn, can you please answer because we can't see you?
Sorry.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks. The next agenda item is to approve our minutes, the Board of Trustees meetings minutes from March 17th and the 21st. We were all present at both meetings, so we can approve both of them at the same time, but I will need a motion and a second to do so.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
And I'll second.
Thank you, Simon and Pat.
Mhm.
All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Carolyn?
Carolyn.
Okay. Thanks, Carolyn. All right. Thanks, everyone. So the next thing our next agenda item is a public hearing on the proposed local law A 2021 amendment of the Village of Lansing Code zoning law to rezone an existing portion of the medium density residential district located on Uptown Road to a high density residential district. And we need a motion to open and a second, please.
I'll move to open the public comment.
And I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye from Carolyn.
Okay. So is there anyone here at the meeting tonight who would like to speak during this public hearing for the rezoning change or the zoning change? Sorry. I see no one. Therefore, we need a motion and a second to close the public hearing on this proposed local law A.
I'll move to close the public. All right. Randy moves, I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. Thanks, Simon. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Our next agenda item is to have a public hearing on our 2022-2023 budget for the Village of Lansing. We need a motion and second to open the public hearing for our budget.
I'll move that we open it.
I'll second.
Pat moves, Simon seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, all right, thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to speak during this public hearing period for the budget of Village of Lansing?
Yes, Don Artill.
Hi, Don, go ahead.
I see that the proposed cost of the sewer system has increased somewhat, but we don't know the actual answer till we've actually did the bidding process. It's a situation where we've already invested several $100,000 in preparation. I would hope that we go forward with that project. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you, Don. Are there any other comments in public hearing? Hearing none, I need a motion and a second to close the public hearing for.
Read your summary.
Should we do that? Okay, all right. As part of the process, Jody has asked me to kind of go through the summary of our budget as part of the public hearing. So I'll do that now. And Don, this might help answer some of your questions that you raised.
I hope so.
The upcoming 2022-23 budget year, the village property tax rate will remain at $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed value. The projected revenue from the 2022-23 property taxes is $816,121. This is a 2.59% increase from our last budget. And there is no need for a tax levy override law this year. Our budget includes $186,993.80 in the American Recovery Plan Act funds that will be used for an upcoming sewer project.
And water.
And water. Sorry. Totals for the village's three funds are the general fund, $2,680,168.70. That's an increase of 9.87%. Our water fund is $1,478,000. That's a reduction of 7.29%. And our sewer fund is $6,197,000. That's an increase of 44.32%. And I'll get to that in just a moment. So the grand total for the village is $10,355,000, $355,168.70. That's an overall increase of 22.02%. So our major projects are going to include the sewer expansion project between the town of Lansing, village of Lansing, and the Cayuga Heights wastewater treatment plant. Those costs increased from $3.2 million to an estimated $4.8 million due to the pandemic impacts on manufacturing materials, delivery charges, et cetera. I'm sure many of you have probably experienced these in different ways yourself, but the price increased by a third. To verify those cost increases, we're going to go ahead and go with our bidding process, which should happen in the next couple of months. And from the bidders' responses, we'll be able to confirm if the cost of the project really is beyond what the village can afford at this time. So if that proves to be the case, we will have to negotiate between the affected municipalities on how to proceed. We might be able to get grants, state and or federal grants. There are some avenues we can pursue. We can use part of our ARPA money, our American Recovery Plan Act money for that if necessary. But we're definitely going to have to see an increase in the contributions from all of the parties, not including the wastewater treatment plant, the town of Lansing, the private developers in the town of Lansing, and the village most likely. But we really won't know the final cost until we get our bids in. Does that answer your question, John?
Yeah, one has to keep in mind that the DEC is becoming very interested in wastewater disposal, and the septic systems that are in this particular area are, I would characterize as long in the tooth. And so eventually we're going to have to do something to abate that.
Agreed.
And
And I
this is
think-
actually, I mean, that's what villagers are for, is to try to accommodate and provide the public services that are needed. And this is one of them.
I agree. And I think that's one of the prime reasons we might be able to submit a grant to relieve some of the problems around the septic systems and could possibly get some extra money to help us fund this project. So that's one of the avenues we will look at, Don. So thank you. And thank you for offering to help us in case we have any questions. You've worked on this for so long. I'd be glad to get with you anytime between now and whenever and answer questions and ask questions and get some answers from you too.
You know my email address.
Yes, I do.
Good.
Okay, another major project is replacing a water main on Brown Road and Warren Road. That will also include repairs to the airport water tank. We will expand and complete resurfacing the Graham Road West. What was done at the early winter was basically just a superficial coating on top of the road to make it safer. So we really want to get down now that we've got all of the agreements signed from the owners of the mall. We want to really tear that road down to the base and rebuild it from the bottom up and make it a good road. We will be installing sidewalks and streetlights on Dart Drive. And we're going to be doing various improvements to village parks, including installation or repairs of backstops, installation of new benches, a new pavilion in Ned Hickey Park, and trails through Ned Hickey and Shannon Park, just as some of those improvements. And there are other improvements, obviously, but these are some of the major ones. Our major purchases for this year will include replacing a Bobcat E55 excavator for our DPW department. That will be $81,000, but there's a trade-in estimate of about $57,000. So we'll be paying about $24,000 for that if all goes well. We will replace a 2018 work pickup for $74,000. Resale estimate on that is $56,000. So that we will be actually be paying about $18,000 for that truck. We hope to be anyway. We will also purchase an asphalt planer. This planer is used for smoothing our blacktop repairs so that the roads are safer. And that cost is $22,000. And I think that that's it for my summary. Okay. So now we will need a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Sorry.
I'll move to close public hearing on the budget.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, so we've had the budget. So now we're going to go through the budget.
No, we don't have to. go through that.
We don't have, okay,
We already had that.
not line by line, but we're going to discuss the budget. Were there any questions from the trustees about changes, or are you ready to adopt?
What were the timeframe for getting the bids on the sewer expansion project?
the sewer expansion project. John estimates in May. He's not sure exactly when.
And then at that point, we look at
Probably,
grants if needed.
once we get the numbers back and we see that the numbers are going to be too high, then we would start looking at grants or other opportunities to fund that work. We would have to approach the town and the private developers in the town also to see if they could contribute more to this project. So there would be negotiations going on and potentially some grant writing or pursuits of state or federal funds.
That's all I have. Otherwise, it looked good. Been for it pretty heavily through the past few meetings.
Any other questions?
Is this discussion, we're having a discussion on this?
Yes.
All
Randy.
right, so thank you. I don't feel that it's it's unresponsible for us to vote on this budget that's $2 million higher than it may be because of this one project. I just don't feel that's right. Why would I want to vote positive for a budget that's $2 million higher than what it was previously a year ago? And we're not raising taxes. I don't feel like that's right. And we're not going to know for a month or 2 months what the new numbers are on this sewer project. I don't like it.
The budget is not a final budget. It's not, we are not absolutely going to have to spend this money. It is just a plan. If we can get all of if the price is low enough, or if we can get extra funding, then we will proceed with this budget or the money set aside for the sewer expansion project. If we do not get the money, we reserve the right to not start that project. We basically want to keep the ball rolling with this so that we can go out to bid and we can get real numbers. And therefore, we have to include it in the budget as one of our projects to do that properly.
As I understood it, if the price stayed as it is now, the 4.8 million, we wouldn't be doing it. But at least including it in there allows us, I think as Ronnie said, to collect the bids and then potentially seek out grants and decide if we do want to do it. But even that said, if it did come out to 4.8 million and we did it at that cost, we still have the money to do so. Although I think we would caution against doing it.
Yeah, we can't spend our sewer fund down close to zero because we might have other emergencies or needs within the village. But we can at the same time approach the town and the private developer in the town to contribute more and start looking for grants, but we don't necessarily have to spend the money, Randy.
I hear you, but I just, and I'm leaning that way, but what's our responsibility to the taxpayers? And so we're going to vote for a budget that may be, I'm just going to use round numbers, $2 million higher than what we're actually going to do. I don't get that. I'm not sure that I'm buying off on this.
It is basically, this is a large project and the numbers are unpredictable. In the current environment, this type of jump is unusual, but we don't want to throw away all of our efforts we've invested so far in proceeding with this project. So we want to proceed with the project, plan for it, and go forward if we can afford it. But if we cannot afford it, we will not spend the money. That's all I can say.
All right. I just feel like I'm not being, we're not being responsible to the taxpayers if we go ahead with this budget. It doesn't feel right. And then we're gonna have a oops. So if I back up for a second, I think we have to submit our budget to the state by a certain date, and that's now. So we don't have a lot of leeway here. Is that correct?
Correct. Our budget every year has projects that we hope to be able to complete, but we cannot complete them. And they roll over into future years. We've experienced that several times in the last few years, primarily due to the impacts of the pandemic. This is another impact. It's not, the size of the project is larger than our other projects, most of our other projects, but the process pretty much is still the same. We will always look to see before we actually commit the money to make sure that we are not putting stress on our funds. So what we're doing is a large amount, yes, but the process is the same. And it would be irresponsible of us to say we were going to spend this money knowing that we very likely could not spend it. But we are saying so in this meeting that we are hoping that the costs are not as high and that the town and the private developer will contribute more so that we can afford this. But we just don't know the real impact to our overall budget until we get some real numbers from the people who will actually be doing the work. And that would be the people who respond to our bid requests.
I guess I would go along with this budget if there's some kind of contingency in there that says that if this special project, which is originally at, what was it, 3 point what? Million?
3.2.
And if
3.2
it
million.
exceeds, and if it exceeds that, then we agree to go look at other avenues to fund this. Or to discontinue the project.
You would have to.
Well, if we don't have the money, we have to discontinue the project. Or at least we could investigate with the parties involved how long we could roll this project forward until we do find the funding for the project or the cost of the materials, the bids, in other words, go down to an affordable level. So that we would always do that, Randy.
Okay, all right. I just want it on record that we're not going to automatically accept this budget as is. We're voting for it, but we have a responsibility to go out and review it. I just want it on
Yes.
record.
Yeah, and that's what
All right.
I've tried to do with my summary today, with the summary tonight, is to say
Yes.
that that's what would happen. And
Okay.
our discussion here clarifies that. So I think we've done that.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? If not, I need a motion and a second to accept the 2023 Village of Lansing budget, the draft budget, sorry, as the final budget.
I'll move to accept the draft budget as the final budget for 22-23.
I'll second.
Simon moves, Pat seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I from Carolyn.
Any abstentions? Any nays? We didn't get a vote from you, Randy.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Randy.
Yes.
And thanks, everyone. Okay, the next portion of our meeting is going to be, from the public hearing we had at the very beginning of the meeting about the rezoning. We now need to go through a full environmental assessment form. And Mike Scott is going to help us with this. He's given me a packet of information, and I think you all of the trustees should have received copies of everything we're talking about. Has everyone read through the part one? And if you have, do you have any questions or issues with the responses that Mike has given us?
Hey, Ronnie, can I say a couple things first?
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
On this original part one, this began about a year ago. And I've spoken with Scott Doyle from the county quite a few times on this. As to how much of this full EAF had to be filled out. As I look at it, it naturally needs a full EAF and not a short EAF. But the question is, how much do you fill out? Because you basically only upzoning. You're not really looking at a certain property or a certain project while you do this. And as Scott Doyle and I researched a little bit more, we somewhat decided that we need to look at how you answer these questions. Not so much as the actual act of just changing the zoning from MDR to HDR, but you have to look at it as what the effects of the new uses would actually have on the environment. And it's difficult. The full EAF is difficult anyway, but it is opinion based. So if you keep in mind that the difference between your MDR and your HDR in general is more commercial uses, and you're entering into a multifamily use for residential. So that's how you have to kind of base your answers as you go through part two. And that's how I had to base my answers as I went through part one. Now, granted, part one, there are a lot of questions on there that actually don't even pertain, they don't even make sense to what we're doing. And we just try to muddle through as best we can and try to answer everything as, you know, I guess non-opinionated as possible. But that's kind of my explanation for having to fill out the full part one form.
Thanks, Mike. Mike, a couple of my questions were some of the responses were ambiguous, and that your explanation explains that, because we're not exactly sure what's going to go there, but it will be more than medium density residential would have. So you can't really, you have no specifics, but you do know there's going to be a change.
I would rather see the board overdo this than underachieve on it.
I understand. Thank you. Are there any other issues or comments, questions?
Just on page 8, one book, part M2, did we need to check one of those boxes, the yes or no? Remove the existing natural barriers? Because there's a description there, so should that be marked off?
Yes, that's possible. I'll mark that yes, because we put in there, I put in there as a description that possibly with the removal of trees and brush, you could produce more noise and actually visibility without those barriers in there. So yep, I'll mark that, Simon.
Yes, then.
Yeah.
If you want. Jody, can you share your screen, please? You said M2, right, Simon?
Yeah, M2, yep.
I marked it yes, I just did. I'll make that change.
Anything else?
So should the one further down, Q, Q2, should we have an answer to that? Will the proposed action use integrated pest management?
Only if it says if yes, and we answered that no.
We don't need to
Q.
take note. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, Pat, there'll be some of them there that don't need pain, so.
Don't need to answer. Okay, fine.
I'm giving everyone an opportunity to make comments, so I'll give it a minute or two more. If you have no comments, then we'll move on.
Good, that's all I had.
Yeah, go to.
Randy, anything? How about you, Carolyn? Carolyn, you'll have to speak up. if you-
Yep.
Oh,
Sorry, no comments.
okay, thank you. All right, so we will move on to EAF Part 2. Mike, do you want me to read through Part 2?
Basically, you can read through the highlighted points, like the first one, the impact on land. In most cases, if you answer no, you don't have to do the rest of the questions.
Okay,
If you do happen to answer yes, then you need to go through the A through whatever there is for you.
okay, all right, so we will do that. Impact on land, we've marked yes. Proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 3 feet. Mike has indicated no or small impact. Do we agree with that? Just tell me if you do not agree with it. That will be faster. The proposed action, B, the proposed action may involve construction on slopes at 15% or greater. No or small impact may occur. C, the proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of existing ground surface. No or small impact may occur. D, the proposed action may involve the excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. No or small impact may occur. E, the proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. Moderate to large impact may occur. F, the proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal, including from treatment by herbicides. No or small impact may occur. G, the proposed action is or may be located within a coastal erosion hazard area. No or small impact may occur. Okay, number 2, impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification of or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site, e.g. cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves. That answer was no. Number 3, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies, e.g. streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes. That answer was no. 4, impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. That answer was yes, so we will go through the sub-items. A, the proposed action may require new water supply wells or create additional demand on supplies from existing water supply wells. No or small impact may occur. B, water supply demand from the proposed action may exceed safe and sustainable withdrawal capacity rate of the local supply or aquifer. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may allow or result in residential uses in areas without water and sewer services. No or small impact may occur. D, the proposed action may include or require wastewater discharge to groundwater. No or small impact may occur. E, the proposed action may result in the construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is or is suspected to be contaminated. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may require the bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products over groundwater or an aquifer. No or small impact may occur. And G, the proposed action may involve the commercial application of pesticides within 100 feet of potable water, drinking water, or irrigation sources. No or small impact may occur. Number 5, impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development on lands subject to flooding. That answer is no. 6, impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source. That answer is no. 7, impact on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. The answer is yes, so we'll go through the sub-items. A, the proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any threatened or endangered species as listed by New York State or the federal government that use the site or are found on, over, or near the site. No or small impact may occur. B, the proposed action may result in a reduction or degradation of any habitat used by any rare, threatened, or endangered species as listed by New York State or the federal government. No or small impact may occur. C, the proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any species of special concern or conservation need as listed by New York State or the federal government that use the site or are found on, over, or near the site. No or small impact may occur. D, the proposed action may result in a reduction or degradation of any habitat used by any species of special concern and conservation need as listed by New York State or the federal government. No or small impact may occur. E, the proposed action may diminish the capacity of a registered national natural landmark to support the biological continuity or community it was established to protect. No or small impact may occur. F, the proposed action may result in the removal of or ground disturbance in any portion of a designated significant natural community. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may substantially interfere with nesting, breeding, foraging, or overwintering habitat for the predominant species that occupy or use the project site. No or small impact may occur. H, the proposed action requires a conversion of more than 10 acres of forest, grassland, or any other regionally or locally important habitat. Moderate to large impact may occur. I, proposed action, commercial, industrial, or recreational projects only, involves use of herbicides or pesticides. No or small impact may occur. Number 8, impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. No is the answer. 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. The answer is yes, so we'll go through the sub-items. A, proposed action may be visible from any officially designated federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resource. No or small impact may occur. B, the proposed action may result in the obstruction, elimination, or significant screening of one or more officially designated scenic views. No or small impact may occur. C, the proposed action may be visible from publicly accessible vantage points. 1, seasonally, screened by summer foliage, visible during this other seasons. No or small impact may occur. And 2, year round. No or small impact may occur. D, the situation or activity in which viewers are engaged while viewing the proposed action is 1, routine travel by residents, including travel to and from work. Moderate to large impact may occur. 2, recreational or tourism-based activities. No or small impact may occur. E, the proposed action may cause a diminishment of the public enjoyment and appreciation of the designated aesthetic resource. No or small impact may occur. If there are similar projects visible within the following distance of the proposed project, 0 to 1/2 mile, 1/2 to 3 miles, 3 to 5 miles, and 5+ miles, moderate to large impact may occur. Mike, on this one, what are we saying is the distance? 0 to 1/2 or any of these?
Yeah, so you're basically your lowest form, you're 0 to 1/2 because you are right next to another high density residential, which has obviously the same uses.
Okay,
So a similar project, if you were to have a multi-unit project going to there, it would be a similar project right next door to it.
okay.
And Ronnie, when we put these, I'm keeping track of when we put this moderate to large impact, because I'll have to put a brief explanation on part 3 as to why you put that. So we'll briefly go over that when we go through part 3.
Thanks, Mike. Moving on to number 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. Proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource. The answer for that is no. 11, impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of an open space resource as designated by any adopted municipal open space plan. The answer to that is no. 12, impact on critical environment areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. The answer to that is no. 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. That answer is yes. So we'll go through the sub-items. A, projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing roadwork. Moderate to large impact may occur. B, the proposed action may result in the construction of paved parking area for 500 or more vehicles. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action will degrade existing transit access. No or small impact may occur. D, the proposed action will degrade existing pedestrian or bicycle accommodations. No or small impact may occur. E, the proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. No or small impact may occur. Number 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in use of any form of energy. The answer to that is yes. So we will go through the sub-items. A, the proposed action will require a new or an upgrade to an existing substation. No or small impact may occur. B, the proposed action will require the creation or extension of an energy transmission or supply system to serve more than 50 single or two-story residences or to serve a commercial or industrial use. Moderate to large impact may occur. C, the proposed action may utilize more than 2,500 megawatt hours per year of electricity. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may involve heating and or cooling of more than 100,000 square feet of building area when completed. Moderate to large impact may occur. Number 15, impact on noise, or odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. And the answer to that is yes. So the subparagraphs, A, the proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may result in blasting within 1,500 feet of any residence, hospital, school, licensed daycare center, or nursing home. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may result in routine odors for more than 1 hour per day. No or small impact may occur. D, the proposed action may result in light shining onto adjoining properties. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action may result in lighting creating sky glow brighter than existing area conditions. No or small impact may occur. Number 16, impact on human health. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. That answer is no. 17, consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. The answer to that is no. Number 18, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character. The answer to that is no. That's all of part 2. Any comments, questions about part 2?
In number 4, why did we put yes on that? I mean, what are the potential contaminants that could be introduced then? Because we answered no to everything else.
Hold on a second, Simon, let me bring that up. You said number 4?
Yeah. the
Page
impact
3.
on groundwater.
Oops. We put no on that, right?
No, we put yes.
We put yes on that. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater and aquifer. During construction, you may have the chance, you may have the opportunity to put something into the groundwater to contaminate it if the proper SWIP isn't done correctly.
So does that just get written into the notes then on that section?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there other comments or questions? Okay. Moving on, the next step on this is to read through our resolution that Mike has provided to us. I'm going to have a sip of coffee before I start. Okay, this resolution, Village of Lansing Board of Trustees resolution for secret review of proposed local law A 2021, adopted on April 4th, 2022. Whereas A, this matter involves consideration of the following proposed action: to amend the Village of Lansing zoning law and zoning map so as to rezone a medium-density residential district, MDR, containing tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.3, Village of Lansing, tax parcel 46.1-6-6.22, Cornell University, and tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.11, Ithaca Swimming Club, Inc., into the high-density residential district, HDR. The MDR district in question borders Uptown Road and tax parcel 46.1-6-6.23 to the south, Uptown Road to the west, Route 13 to the north, and Warren Road, tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.21, and tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.23 to the east. The rezoning of this MDR district is intended to allow for a favorable transition to a contiguous HDR district west of Uptown Road. The proposed rezoning action is intended to be consistent with the village comprehensive plan. And B, on April 4th, 2021, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees, in performing the lead agency function for its independent and uncoordinated environmental review in accordance with Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, determined that the proposed action provided for herein is a type 1 action in accordance with SEQR. 2, thoroughly reviewed the full environmental assessment form, the full EAF, and any and all other documents prepared and submitted with respect to this proposed action and its environmental review. 3, completed its thorough analysis of the potential relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment, including the criteria identified in 6 New York CRR section 617.7C, and 4, completed the full EAF part 2. And so on the April 4th, shouldn't 2020 be 2022, not 2021? In the first
Agreed.
instance? Okay.
Agreed.
Corrected.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mike. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Option 1. 1, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees, based upon 1, its thorough review of the full EAF Part 1 and any and all other documents prepared and submitted with respect to this proposed action and its environmental review, including any visual environmental assessment form deemed required, and comments and recommendations, if any, provided by the Tompkins County Department of Planning in accordance with the General Municipal Law, sections 239-1 or -L and 239-M. 2, its thorough review of the potential relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment, including the criteria identified in 6 New York CRR section 617.7C, and 3, its completion of the full EAF Part 2, including the findings noted thereon, which findings are incorporated herein as if set forth at length, hereby makes a negative determination of environmental significance, negative declaration in accordance with the seeker for the above referenced proposed action, and determines that an environmental impact statement will not be required. And 2, the responsible officer of the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees is hereby authorized and directed to complete and sign as required the full EAF Part 3, confirming the foregoing negative declaration, which fully completed and signed. Full EAF shall be attached to and made a part of this resolution. Do we want to vote on option 1, or do you want me to read through option 2?
Like option 1.
Does anyone disagree with voting for option 1, that this is a negative declaration? If so, I need a motion and a second to vote for this. I will move it. I will move that we vote for option 1 in this resolution.
A second.
Simon seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm skipping option 2 then. Thank you. My voice thanks you too.
Should have just said option 2, just to make you read that right.
All right, so what'll happen here, Ronnie, is we're gonna go to part 3. This is the easiest one out of all of them. What we're going to do is we're gonna identify, I'm gonna read back to you all of the options that you had put a moderate to large impact. And I will jot down, not on the screen, but I'll jot down here what your reasoning was behind that. So On part two, the first one was impact of land. The proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. I assume you put that on there because the uses now allow for larger projects, which tend to take a little bit longer time. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes.
Everyone okay with that?
Good with that?
Yes.
Yep.
The next one was the proposed action requires the conversion of more than 10 acres of forest, grasslands, or any other regionally or locally important habitat. That pretty much I believe you guys know that 25 acres is mainly forest, so you know most of that is going to be come down. Unless the planning board fights them to the death. So is that good enough to put on there? Well, I'll leave out the fighting to the death part.
Could we say that the area is full of unmanaged growth
Okay,
and that it has not been sustained and that most of it would have to be removed and or replaced with approved plantings by the village board, planning board. Is that too much? Is
nope.
that too many?
I'm just writing it down.
I hesitate to call it a forest just because there are trees growing.
Nope, that's good.
Okay.
Much more extravagant than how I put it. Next one would be, is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Would you mind reading the question one more time? And then I'll tell you whether I'm okay with it. Please.
The proposed action requires the conversion of more than 10 acres of forest, grasslands, or any other regionally or locally important habitat.
Okay, thank you. I'm good with it.
The next one is under impact on aesthetics, resources. Basically, the question is situation or activity in which viewers are engaged while viewing the proposed action is number one, which you put moderate to large impact, is routine travel by residents, including travel to and from work. I assume that was because it was next to Route 13.
And Warren Road.
Because of the heavy traffic of nearby roads.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure about the traffic flow and Uptown Road during work or for workflow or traffic to work. But I know that Warren Road and Route 13 are both very busy.
Are we okay with that?
I don't know. I would not have thought that it would have been an issue for that question, but whatever you guys want to do.
Mike, I think I agree with what you've said.
Okay.
Go with it.
Next one is there are similar projects visible within the following distance of the proposed project. The reason I answered that in part one, and the reason I kind of directed you that way is if you are upzoning that to an HDR, there is a possibility of a multifamily use in that area in which there would be one to be next door. If it were to be some type of clinic or other commercial, there would be some next to that with Arleo and also the Human Health Resources District. So essentially, it wouldn't be out of place for uses. Seem reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and a couple more. would be the impact on transportation. Projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network. We don't know that for sure, but it is very possible if you have a large commercial development or a multi-resident development to increase traffic quite a bit. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
Yes.
The last two would be under impact on energy. B, the proposed action will require the creation or extension of an energy transmission or supply system to serve more than 50 single or two-family residences or to serve a commercial or industrial use. That question kind of answers itself. You now have a use of multiple dwelling, and you also have commercial uses. So that's kind of a moderate to large impact. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, I think it would be toward the upward end of what they could put in that property. So it's going to be major or moderate, I'm sorry.
Last one would be the proposed action may involve heating and or cooling of more than 100,000 square feet of building area when completed, which is very possible with a commercial or multi-unit residential.
Yes,
Reasonable there?
yes.
Right, and if you don't mind, those are the last ones. I will fill that in before I have you sign this. The other, if anybody else has seen any more of part 3, as you fill this out, the seeker status is type 1. It's through the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees. And this is where you have to pick one of these 3. As far as A, you want to read those, Ronnie? Which one you want to pick?
Yeah, I'll read them and then we can decide. A, this project will result in no significant adverse impacts on the environment and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Accordingly, this negative declaration is issued. B, although this project could have a significant adverse impact on the environment, that impact will be avoided or substantially mitigated because of the following conditions, which we cannot fill in because we're not sure. C, this project may result in one or more significant adverse impacts on the environment, and an environmental impact statement must be prepared to further assess the impacts and possible mitigation and to explore alternatives to avoid or reduce those impacts. Accordingly, this positive declaration is issued. So I think based upon our resolution, we would go with A. Does anyone disagree with that? Okay, it's A.
And I will fill the rest of this out and get this to you, and that will end our half hour of extreme fun.
Okay. So do we have to do this final resolution to adopt the law?
So now we're going to adopt proposed local law A 2021 as local law 4 2022.
Okay. So you should, the trustees should have this in their packet. At this April 4th, 2022, Village of Lansing Board of Trustees resolution number that Jody will provide to adopt proposed local law A 2021 as local law 4 2022. I'll try. My voice may give out. This matter involves consideration of the following proposed action: adoption of proposed local law A 2021 to be designated local law 4 2022 upon adoption, to amend the Village of Lansing zoning law and zoning map so as to rezone a medium density residential district, MDR, containing tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.3, Village of Lansing, tax parcel 46.1-6-6.22, Cornell University, and tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.11, Ithaca Swimming Club, Inc., into the high density residential district, HDR, the MDR district In question borders Uptown Road and tax parcel 46.1-6-6.23 to the south, Uptown Road to the west, Route 13 to the north, and Warren Road, tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.21, and tax parcel number 46.1-6-6.23 to the east. The rezoning of this MDR district is intended to allow for a favorable transition to a contiguous HDR district west of Uptown Road. The proposed rezoning action is intended to be consistent with the Village Comprehensive Plan. And B, on February 1st, 2021, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees preliminarily discussed the purposes and intent of proposed local law and thereupon scheduled a public hearing for March 1st, 2021. And C, on March 1st, 2021 and March 15th, 2021, the Board of Trustees held a public hearing and decided to keep the public hearing open. And D, the Village of Lansing Planning Board, one, reviewed the proposed action on February 22nd, 2022 and March 14th, 2022. And two, on March 17th, 2022, referred such proposed action to the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees with a recommendation for approval. And E, on March 21st, 2022, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees revisited this proposed local law and recommendation by the Planning Board, and thereupon decided to continue the public hearing on April 4th, 2022. And F, on April 4th, 2022, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees continued the public hearing regarding this proposed action and thereafter discussed and reviewed one, proposed local law, two, all other information and materials rightfully before the board, and three, all issues raised during the public hearing and or otherwise raised in the course of the board's deliberations. And G, on April 4th, 2022, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees in performing the lead agency function for its independent and uncoordinated environmental review in accordance with Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR. One, determined that the proposed action provided for herein is a type 1 action in accordance with SEQR. Two, thoroughly reviewed the full environmental assessment form, the full EAF, and any and all other documents prepared and submitted with respect to this proposed action and its environmental review. Three, completed its thorough analysis of the potential relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment, including the criteria identified in 6 New York CRR section 617.7C. And four, completed the full EAF part 2. And H, on April 4th, 2022, the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees completed its review of one, proposed local law, two, all other information and materials rightfully before the board, and three, all issues raised during the public hearing and or otherwise raised in the course of the board's deliberations. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows: the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees hereby adopts the attached proposal local law A 2021 to be designated local law 4 2022. I would need a motion and a second to approve the resolution. I will move.
So move. Okay.
I moved. Randy seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded?
Aye.
Andy?
Okay. Got a vote. So thank you all. So that concludes our major agenda items tonight. The next is mayor's comments. I'll be brief. I just want to let everyone know about the new siren system that's going to replace Swift 911. I just found out today that they plan to turn on the new system, which is an emergency response system, on Friday. And if you haven't done so, you can sign up for a siren account, or if you have an old Swift 911 account, you're supposed to be transferred over, but I would still log in and make sure that they've picked the proper notifications to send you. There's a list of about 30 of them based upon the municipality, county, et cetera. So that's a free service and basically you can have it send you a text, email, and voicemail for any and all of those different types of alerts. So if you need to sign up or you want more information, if you go to our website on our news items, Village News box on our homepage, there's a posting about this and it's got links so that you can go in and contact people or sign up for a new account or check your old account. So I just wanted to say that. And beyond that, I have nothing. Is there anything from anyone else?
I have a quick question for Natalie. What is the village liability if someone were to fall into a retention pond and drown?
So I would need to look more at the surrounding area of the retention pond. I wasn't familiar with the letter that was written, though it is advisable for anyone with a, I can't think of the word, but something on their property that might entice people into it to take precaution, to take safety measures to either enclose it or post it. So I'll have to look at the exact pond that is being described, but we should look into possible steps for remedying it if that's what the area is like.
I'll be honest, I've never really thought about it. And having 2 young kids, I'm actually more concerned with them falling off the play equipment than falling into a retention pond. I don't know if there is maybe there is a problematic one. We're usually at Hart Hill Park and the retention ponds there, I've never had an issue with, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the terrain to really know what type of risk is involved. It would be similar to if you have a trampoline or a pool in your backyard. That's the type of scenario that comes to mind for me. So without knowing the exact terrain, I can't say what the liability would be at the moment.
Okay. We will continue this discussion, and if there are any steps that we can or should take, then we will proceed with that. So thank you, Natalie. Thanks, Simon. Anything else? If not, I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
A second. Yep.
Randy is seconding. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It was a good meeting.
Good night.
Good night.